everybody. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday, folks.
Today is a special day because there are only 163 days until Christmas.
And that makes it special?
Well, that doesn't sound like that many. See,
no,
Alex is excited too.
Yeah, it is exciting. It's less than 180.
So I was up in the attic today, kind of sorting out some of the Christmas. You put a lot of vermouth in here.
Did I? I don't think so.
Oh, maybe it's just me. I was sorting out some of the Christmas stuff in the attic to try and get it all ready for, I guess it's about 100 days so we can start putting the Christmas stuff up. So I was getting things sorted out, and I found some interesting...
Excuse me.
Right there?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
I found some interesting things in the attic that I had forgotten that we had. Well, maybe they're not interesting to anyone else, but they were interesting to me.
We'll give it a go.
Okay, I'll start small first. One of them was a set of tire chains from a car that we no longer own and have never used. The car we used, not the chains. Anyway.
It's too bad. Too bad we didn't think to put those in the back of the car when we sold it.
I know. If anyone out there needs tire chains for, what, like a 2005 Saturn View? Is that what
yeah, it was a 2004
Okay.
Saturn.
Let us know, because we have some in our attic.
Right. I can give you the tire sizes that they'll fit.
Good to know.
Because it probably, multiple cars, just that particular size.
Right. Okay. So there's that. And then I found a rock and mineral kit from 1956.
That's the one your mom gave us.
Yeah,
right?
I think it used to be my grandpa's. And it reminded me of a problem that I had before. I was trying to figure out what to do with it. Because one of the minerals in there is uranophane, which is ore of uranium. And it's radioactive. Yeah, I know. So I remember Googling this many years ago, trying to figure out, how dangerous is it? Can I keep it in my house? And the answer was sort of and maybe, but you probably shouldn't. So anyway, it's in a box up in the attic.
Geiger counter's gonna go crazy.
Right, so if you want some tire chains and maybe some radioactive uranium ore to go with it,
What's it, a piece like that big or something?
I don't know, it's about that big.
Right.
Anyway, radioactive uranium ore up in the attic.
Well, I watched last weekend a documentary about the nuclear meltdown at 3 Mile Island in Pennsylvania, which happened in the early 1980s, and the power company and the Nuclear Regulatory Commission weren't that worried about radiation back then, so...
Maybe I'm overthinking it.
I think you probably are.
It's probably all right. I also found my old collection of vintage Las Vegas ashtrays.
Oh, I love those.
Yeah, so I collected those, many years ago when I had a real job, which was like, 20 plus years ago when I worked
we
at the
collected
biotech.
them, didn't we?
Well, we collected them,
Yeah.
I think I was kind of spearheaded the project, but
Sure.
you were on board too. When I worked at the biotech company, if I had a slow minute during my work day, I'd get on eBay and buy vintage ashtrays.
Yeah, we got some good ones. We got some really, really good ones. Old Tropicana ashtrays, a couple of different styles.
I looked them up on eBay thinking maybe, they'd be worth millions of dollars now, but it turns out they're about worth what we paid for them, 20 years ago.
Yeah.
So.
Turns out people really aren't looking for old ashtrays, and they made hundreds of thousands of them, so they're really not that rare. But, hang on to them for another 40 years and maybe.
Right, I'm not giving those away with the tire chains and the uranium ore. I'm going to hang on to those. So let's talk about the market for a minute. And again, briefly, because we put out lots of videos. You put out lots of videos this week, and we put out one together about the market. So cliff note, what's going on in the market?
Cliff notes of what's going on in the market. Standing inventory continues to rise. Pending sales are flat, and closed sales are down this week. But that's because pending sales were down about 5 or 6 weeks ago. So, inventory continues to build. And homes are selling at a reasonably decent pace if they're priced well. So,
what was that catchphrase that you've been using lately?
If you price it well, it will sell.
And it's true in every market, but especially in a market like this.
Right. This is the kind of market that you better nail that price pretty fast, because otherwise you're going to be in that stack of people that's just sitting with all the other houses that are coming on the market, and you're just sitting there. So yeah, the interesting separation that's going on right now between what's sitting and what's not sitting is market time. The market time for properties going into escrow is about half that of the properties sitting on the market. So it just proves that if you price it well, it's going to sell, it's going to go under contract, and you're going to be done with your situation versus sitting there, wondering if your house is going to sell.
Well, we just put a house on the market yesterday. It's a really nice house in Oceanside, a large, 2,600 square feet.
Yes, it is.
It's got a view. It's a nice place. So I guess we'll see what happens because showings begin on Saturday. So hopefully that will be one of the ones that is, we believe it's priced well. So hopefully it will sell.
We tried to price it well so it would sell, and we'll see what happens with it. We sure hope it does. We hope so.
Okay. Well, are we done talking about the market now? All right, let's move along to stuff that's happening in San Diego. Woohoo. So you know this company Topgolf?
Yes, I'm familiar with them.
Yeah, so they have these all around. I think they're all around the country.
Yeah, I think so.
So it's a popular sports entertainment brand, and they have these venues where you can go and play golf. I think it's just kind of like a driving range, yeah. And they have a restaurant and a bar.
I think it's.
I've never been to one, but
yeah, I mean, I'm a little ignorant because I'm not really a golfer. Except on the Xbox. I really enjoy the Xbox golf. But I believe what it is it's like a golf simulator where you're hitting the ball in. What you're really doing is just hitting the ball into a net, but there's some sort of computer simulation you're looking at.
Someone on Reddit described it as karaoke for golf, and I don't know how accurate that is. But anyway, so Topgolf. Yeah, Topgolf is in negotiations with the Port of San Diego to open one of the driving ranges on East Harbor Island. And they're not totally sure of the location yet, but they're thinking of putting it's kind of near like sea level and Island Prime where there used to be rental car parking lots.
And now there's like no parking?
Yeah. So anyway, they're thinking they're likely to put it there. But it would be a 68,000 square foot spot, and it's an 8.5 acre site.
Wow. That's big.
Exactly. So people on social media, they seem to have very strong opinions either way. I know a lot of our friends that we, are friends with on social media were really excited about it. They really want to go there, and it sounds cool. I probably would go there. But a lot of people, they thought that the high nets would obstruct the view of the bay. And also they thought it wasn't a good use of prime waterfront space. They thought it might be a blight on the waterfront.
Harbor Island is a blight on the waterfront, if you ask me.
Okay. I actually prefer Shelter Island.
I mean, I don't know. It's all, these are all man-made. They're not really islands anyway. They're isthmuses, right? They're connected to the land. They're not really islands.
Is that a tide island or an isthmus? Or you have a degree in geography, so I don't know.
Yeah,
you should know
30 years ago.
Okay.
I mean, can you remember stuff from your
I've certainly forgotten a lot of stuff from my days as a biology major.
I believe in isthmus.
Why do they call it that? Nobody can say that.
I know, I can't say it, but I believe that that is a piece of land that's connected to the mainland by a point, a strip of land.
But like Coronado is kind of the same, but that's a tide island, I'm pretty sure, and not an isthmus.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're getting way off in the weeds.
Off in the weeds.
So Topgolf. Yeah, so you think you're for it?
Well, I don't know that I'm for it or against it. It's just, I kind of try and avoid Harbor Island in general. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just not. It's not that, I don't know, there's nothing that great there.
Again, I prefer Shelter Island. There's the Bay Club there, there's Humphreys for concerts.
Right.
Right nearby there is Mitch's, which is my favorite seafood restaurant. But
it just feels a little mellower on Shelter Island, and they got that beautiful park where you can sit and look across to North Island.
Yeah.
I don't know what my particular objection to Harbor Island is, but...
Well, maybe you'll like it better if they put the Topgolf there. We'll go check it out, and maybe it'll be awesome.
Yeah, I'll go there and whiff at the golf ball and not hit it like I do when I go outside and golf.
Go home and play Tiger Woods golf on the Xbox.
I'm pretty good at putting, and I'm not too bad at chipping, but boy, driving the ball is not my thing. I have a hard time making contact and making a solid, straight shot.
Well, maybe if they open the Topgolf, you can work on your driving.
Yeah, sure. I can pay them, $50 an hour to not hit the ball.
All right, well, let's move on to something else happening around San Diego. On Tuesday, there was a new exhibit at the Birch Aquarium.
Oh, I like that place.
Yeah, and it features the world's smallest penguins, which are called little blue penguins.
Oh,
yeah,
are they like, how big
they're
are
super cute. So they're less than a foot tall, and they weigh 2 or 3 pounds.
Oh.
Yeah, they're pretty cute. It's funny because they're like super awkward on land, but then when they get in the water, they're very, graceful. And
they look like fish when they swim.
Yeah. So it's an 18,000-gallon lagoon. They've got burrows for the penguins and a beach and native plants, and they're trying to make it they're trying to mimic the coast of New Zealand and Australia, where these birds are from.
Nice.
Yeah. So they have like blue-looking feathers, which is why they're called little blue penguins.
Right.
And so they're going to have around 16 of them. They're getting 6 on loan from the Dallas World Aquarium, and the rest are coming from Australia. And I was kind of wondering, like, how do they get the penguins here?
I was just thinking the same thing. It's like cool that they're getting the penguins, but the poor penguins have to get packed into whatever and flown in airplanes.
Yeah, do they ask the penguins, hey, do y'all want to stay here in Dallas or do you want to move to San Diego?
Well, I guess, like the cargo hold of an airplane is pretty cold, so the penguins might like that.
I don't know. I can imagine penguins probably don't want to go on an airplane ride, or they probably don't take, well, I guess they definitely don't take a train from Australia. You could technically take a train from Texas, but
I believe Elon Musk is working on boring a tunnel from Australia, but hasn't happened yet.
I'll stay tuned for that one.
Yeah, it's going to get pretty hot down there because you got to go, 17,000 feet down.
under the seafloor.
Yeah.
All right, so penguins at Birch Aquarium. They're looking pretty cute, and you can go see them.
We just need to invent the teleportation from Star Trek where we can just like, send the penguins from.
It's going to solve a lot of our problems.
It will, yeah.
So let's go hyper local and talk about what's happening in our backyard, and not metaphorically like our actual backyard.
Oh, yeah.
So we had a big week this week in our backyard.
We did.
Our dragon fruit bloomed for the first time.
Yes.
Yeah, so it was towards the beginning of 2020 when our neighbor gave me some dragon fruit cuttings, and she was in her backyard and I was in my backyard, and it was like right when everybody was getting locked down for the first time. And my neighbor offered me these dragon fruit cuttings, and I took them. I was like, oh, cool, thanks. And then later I was like, oh no, she touched the dragon fruit cuttings and then I touched them. Am I gonna get COVID now? And anyway, I didn't get COVID from the dragon fruit, but years later, 2.5 years later, or almost 2.5 years later, the dragon fruits are looking good. We follow this guy, Richard, on YouTube. Richard from Grafting Dragon Fruits.
Yeah.
Thank you, Richard, for all of your dragon fruit advice. And they look, you built these supports for them because they can get pretty big. So we wanted them to bloom, and they're old enough we thought they could bloom. And Richard says use this stuff called Flora Nova Bloom. So I used it, nothing happened. I used it again, nothing happened. And we're thinking, well, that's it. It's not going to happen for us this year. But then we got a bloom.
Yes.
They started popping out. And our first one flowered this week.
Yes.
And it was the night of the supermoon too. It was, I'm trying not to use I almost used a bad word here, but I was going to say it was effing awesome. I don't use a lot of bad words, but
children might be watching.
It was the coolest flower we've ever grown. This dragon fruit flower. It was big and white. It was like bigger than my hand, and they only bloom for one night overnight. And you have to hand pollinate them because they're native to South and Central America, where bats pollinate them at night. And we don't have too many bats around here, so we pollinated them ourselves.
Right. But then, of course, the next morning the flower was still open and there were bees all over it, so the bees probably would have pollinated it, but that's okay. We took care of pollinating that thing. It closed back up, and boy, oh boy, I hope we get some dragon fruit, because I've never really had a really good one, and I've paid $4 or $5 a piece for them before to try and see if I could get a good one. And
well, according to Richard, you can't get them at the store because they have to be picked. They can't be transported around. They just don't travel well, and they pick them before they're all the way ripe for the grocery stores, like a lot of fruit. So
it's not like a banana where you can pick it green and it'll just ripen. Banana's kind of the perfect fruit that way, right? You can hack it off when it's green, and then it'll keep on ripening. I wonder what a banana really tastes like if it really ripens on the tree, though. I'll bet it's amazing.
Yeah, probably is a lot different than the bananas you get in the store. But anyway, we're hoping for dragon fruit.
Well, I was at Sprouts the other day, and they had a whole bin of dragon fruits, and they were $6 each.
They probably weren't that good either.
They didn't look good. They looked, I was like, oh my God, who's buying these? But I guess, like, if you're well, that would be some expensive jam if you were going to buy them and make jam out of them. You're going to be paying like $100 for a jar of jam. But anyway, yeah, they're expensive in the store. We're hoping to get some this year. You had a new butterfly pop out today, right?
Yeah, we released a butterfly today. We've got
Yeah.
a few new chrysalids in the greenhouse that you guys got me for, I think it was Mother's Day. So,
Yes.
yeah, it's working out well. We've got ventilation in there. And anyway, yeah,
Yep.
it's looking good.
So yeah, a lot of good stuff in the garden going on.
So let's talk about today in history.
Okay.
So on July 15th, 1916, the Boeing Company was formed. Yeah, and I know you like airplane history because
yeah.
you have a pilot's license, although, you know, it's been a while since we used to go flying, but
Yeah, I haven't used it in quite some time, but I do have it. I did earn it at one point, and Boeing is awesome, or at least they have been historically.
for the most part.
Yeah, until they started killing people with their latest airplane.
The Supermax?
Yeah, the 737 Max. I think they've got that sorted out. But, oh, what a debacle that was. And it was all about cutting corners. Just so sad to see. But hopefully they got it worked out and that will never happen again.
Well, let's take it back to the beginning when timber merchant William Edward Boeing incorporated the Pacific Aero Products Company to manufacture airplanes.
Wow.
The first factory was in a former boathouse on a river near Seattle.
Yeah.
And the first aircraft produced was the Boeing Model 1.
Yeah.
It was a single engine, and it had it was a float-equipped biplane.
Okay.
So they could, I guess, roll it on out of the boathouse factory and into
Yeah.
the water and then up into the air.
A lot of the first airplanes were float planes because we didn't have paved runways.
And then 1 year later, they became the Boeing Airplane Company.
Right on. Yeah. Boeing, I believe the Boeing 707 was the first commercial jet aircraft, if I'm not mistaken. There was also the de Havilland Comet around the same time, but that they had big, the selling point for the Comet was that it had these big square windows, which was great, and they touted the fact that you'd have a wonderful view, but unfortunately, because of the window corners, made the fuselage weak, and a couple of those Comets broke up in the air, and
Much like a comet would do as
yes. So
careening through space.
that's why airplane windows have rounded
Interesting.
corners.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah, well, the pressurization and depressurization of the skin of the aircraft is very taxing on the metal, and metal fatigue is a big issue that they've got to watch out for.
I guess it's like in a building arch. You have the arch shaped with the keystones so that it's not putting pressure on the corners. So
Right. Yeah.
anyway.
Yep.
All right, well, what else is going on?
Oh, well, meeting with some new buyers this weekend via Zoom. They're not in San Diego yet. We've got our buyers in escrow on the property in Scripps Ranch that we're working out the repair request this weekend. And it's going to be a warm one, but not terribly warm this weekend, so everybody stay cool. But I don't really have any other fascinating information to impart. If I do, I'll save it for next time.
All right, sounds good. Well, let's get on with our Friday evening. I
Yes.
think we're going to be cooking some dinner, watching some Happy Days,
That's right.
and we'll see what happens after that. You never know what might happen.
You never know what can happen.
All right, folks, thanks for stopping by, and we'll see you next time.
See you later.